Hey, geometry, going to show you how to name different geometric figures here. Starting with a point, I'm going to assign a capital letter to the example of this point, and we can write it out in words, or we can use a dot next to the capital letter. Next up is a line. I'm going to put two capital letters on the example of a line, capital A and capital B. There are two ways that we can name a line. The first is using two capital letters. So we could say capital A, capital B. I'm going to draw a line on top of those capital letters. But we could also reverse the order of the capital letters and say capital B, capital A. Remember to draw the line on top. I could also put a lowercase letter next to one of the arrows. And that's the second way we can name a line. Use one lowercase letter. And the way we would use that lowercase letter is we would write the word line with the lowercase letter m. Next up is plane. I'm going to add some more capital letters to the picture of the plane. I'm going to add capital A, capital T, and capital H. The important thing to know for how to name a plane is that you need at least 3 capital letters. I like to choose 4. So we could call this plane math. But if you wanted to use 3 instead, you could just call it plane mat. Next up is line segment. I'm going to go to one of our line segments and label capital A and capital B. We use 2 capital letters. So I would write capital A, capital B, and draw a line segment on top. Or we could reverse the order of the letters. Capital B, capital A. Remember to draw the line segment on top. Next up is a ray. I'm going to go to one of our rays, and I'm going to label capital A and capital B. The important thing about naming a ray is that you have to start with the end point. You have to start with the end point. Between capital A and capital B, capital A is the end point. And then capital B, and we need to draw a ray on top. We cannot reverse the order of the letters because we have to start with capital A, since it's the end point. Next is opposite rays. Here, we're going to name 2 rays that are going on in this picture. We're going to name 2 rays because we have 3 capital letters to work with. The first ray that we're going to name starts in the middle and travels to the left. The second ray that we're going to name starts in the middle and travels to the right. To name the orange ray, we need to start with its end point, which happens to be C, and it travels to the left through A. Don't forget to draw the ray symbol on top. So that's the name of the orange ray. And now for the name of the blue. The blue ray starts at C, travels through B. Don't forget to draw the ray symbol on top. So that's the name of the blue ray. So one of the important things to remember here is that you start naming both rays with the middle point. Because the middle point, for us, it was point C, is the end point of both rays. Next up is collinear points. We are just going to name the 3 points that stand on this line. So that would be points A, B, and C. So to name them, we're just going to use the dots next to each capital letter, and we're going to separate them with commas. We're going to do something similar with coplanar points. I need to label these as capital letters. I'm going to use capital A and capital B. We are just going to name those points. So, as a list with the dot symbol, points A and B. Next up is endpoint. I'm going to label these with capital A and capital B. Again, we're just going to list these points. This time I'm going to use the or between them because we could be talking about one or the other being an endpoint. Now to talk about some angles. An acute angle is less than 90 degrees. This is the less than symbol from algebra. An acute angle is less than 90 degrees. Next is a right angle. A right angle measures exactly 90 degrees. The symbol that goes with exactly should be equals. So equals 90 degrees for a right angle. Next is obtuse angle. An obtuse angle measures between 90 degrees and 180 degrees. So we're going to write 2 rules to go for obtuse angle. The first rule is that an obtuse angle is greater than 90 degrees. But it also needs to be less than 180 degrees. So it needs to be between 90 and 180. And then we have the straight angle, which measures exactly 180 degrees. This is another equals. Now, I want to go back and label what we call the vertex for each angle. The vertex is the corner point of an angle. So you can see I did it on the straight angle. Now I'm doing it on the acute angle. I'm going to do it on one of the right angles and on one of the obtuse angles. The vertex is the corner point of an angle. And one more piece of information that I want to share with you. Is that naming line segment AB is different from just using the capital letters A and B. Here's why. Just using the capital letters A and B means the length between A and B.